This is living power with the Hurst.
Many have misinterpreted what Jesus taught in Luke 18. Some of you are familiar with this passage, but Jesus was teaching about prayer there too. And look what he said. Then Jesus told his disciples a parable to show them that they should always pray and not give up. He said, in a certain town there was a judge who neither feared God nor cared about men. And there was a widow in that town who kept coming to him with a plea, grant me justice against my adversary. For some time he refused, but finally he said to himself, even though I don't fear God or care about men, yet because this widow keeps bothering me, I will see that she gets justice so that she won't eventually wear me out with her coming. Now, what Jesus was teaching here was that it was to never give up on prayer. Even when the circumstances, in this case an unjust judge, seem to come against your requests. But it's not about just praying the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, just simply because you think that's the way that you're supposed to do it. It's not about wearing God down. You don't wear God down. Anytime you pray, attempting to convince God of something, listen to what I'm saying. Anytime you pray, trying to convince God of something is like what Jesus referred to as babbling like a pagan. You're pitting yourself against spiritual power in some sort of spiritual chess match. You'll lose. You're not going to win. Because God's not listening. God doesn't engage in that. When you're playing that game, when you're going through that process, where you're just trying some sort of incantation, or you're just trying to wear God down, or you're trying to manipulate God, God's not really paying attention. Because you're not really praying. You insult God when you pray that way. You make it clear that you don't know the one to whom you're praying. You don't understand what prayer is when you pray that way. Then verse 8 is this calm and pointed reminder from Jesus that God knows what's going on. God never asks in your life, what's happening here? God's never on the outs wondering what's going on in your life. He knows you. He knows your circumstances. He knows what you need. He knows He wants to hear from you, and He knows that you need to hear from Him. And He knows that you need to be totally reliant on Him. And He wants you to get your eyes off of the problem and on to Him. He is the source. He's the solution. You're not going to manipulate Him. You're not going to cast some sort of spell. There's not a formula for praying. It's just simply an honest connection with God.